Imagine checking into a beautiful remote hotel nestled high in the Colorado Rockies. The snow is falling, the fire is crackling, and everything seems perfect until night falls. Whispers echo down empty halls. Ghostly figures appear in mirrors. You're alone, but you're not. This isn't fiction. This is the real-life horror behind the infamous Overlook Hotel. While many know it as the chilling setting of Stephen King's The Shining, what if we told you the story was rooted in reality and that the hotel is very much haunted? Tonight, we're opening the doors to one of the most mysterious and terrifying places in America. Welcome to the Haunted Overlook Hotel, the inspiration behind the Overlook. Stephen King's Overlook Hotel wasn't just the product of imagination. In 1974, King and his wife stayed at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. They were the only guests that night, as the hotel was closing for the winter. The eerie silence and grand empty halls made a lasting impression. That night, King had a nightmare of his son being chased down the corridor by a possessed fire hose. He woke up drenched in sweat, and The Shining was born. But what's chilling is that guests at the Stanley had been experiencing supernatural events long before King's visit. Ghosts of Room 217. Room 217 is the most infamous room at the Stanley, King's actual room. But its haunted history began in 1911 when a housekeeper, Elizabeth Wilson, was thrown across the room by a gas explosion. She survived, but it's believed she never left. Guests report their luggage being mysteriously unpacked, lights turning on and off, and a ghostly figure tucking them into bed. Male guests in particular say they feel a cold presence pressing on their chest at night, like someone watching or protecting them. Would you dare stay the night? Phantoms in the concert hall. The Stanley's concert hall isn't just a beautiful venue, it's a supernatural hotspot. Guests have heard music playing when the room is empty, footsteps echoing behind them, and a faint voice calling out their names. A spirit named Paul, believed to be a former maintenance man, is said to enforce the hotel's old rules. He tells guests to get out after hours, literally. Some even claim to have captured his voice on audio recordings during ghost tours. Why does he linger? And more importantly, what happens if you don't follow his rules? The children that never left. One of the most unsettling reports comes from guests hearing children running and laughing through the halls. The problem? There are no children staying in the hotel. Some believe the spirits of two young girls, possibly connected to tragic past guests, roam the hotel in an endless loop, playing games with each other and occasionally with the living. Are they harmless echoes from the past, or are they part of something more sinister? Haunted hallways and elevators. It's not just specific rooms, entire corridors of the hotel have left guests paralyzed with fear. Hallways grow inexplicably cold, lights flicker without cause, and the feeling of being followed is constant. One of the most talked about spots? The elevator. People report seeing shadowy figures entering, yet the elevator arrives empty. Some even claim the buttons press themselves, taking them to floors they didn't request. Sound like something out of The Shining? That's because the horror wasn't just written, it was experienced. Shadow people and mirror sightings. Several guests report seeing shadow figures at the edge of their vision, only for them to vanish when looked at directly. Even creepier, people have seen unfamiliar faces in the hotel's mirrors. Faces that don't belong to them or anyone nearby. Mirrors have long been considered gateways to the spirit world. So are these just illusions, or glimpses into another realm tied to the hotel's haunted energy? Either way, these stories are far too consistent and far too detailed to ignore. Stephen King's real fear. Despite being one of the greatest horror writers alive, Stephen King himself was deeply unnerved by the Stanley Hotel. He admitted that the atmosphere felt off, as though something was watching him from the shadows. That's what made him set The Shining there, because it felt alive. In interviews, King has said he believes some stories write themselves. And at the Stanley, the story was already there. Dark, waiting, and real. Unexplainable photos and videos. Tourists and ghost hunters have captured strange anomalies. Faces in windows, figures in doorways, and energy fields caught on thermal cameras. In one infamous photo, a family captured a woman in period dress standing at the top of a staircase. though no one in the hotel matched her appearance. Skeptics say it's tricks of the light. But how do you explain a dozen different people getting the same woman in the same spot wearing the same thing? Coincidence or manifestation? The hotel's darker past. Some believe the Stanley Hotel was built on cursed land. While no official records confirm ancient burial grounds, local Native American legends speak of spirits who protect the mountains and punish those who disrespect them. The hotel also hosted secretive spiritualist gatherings in the early 1900s. Seances, occult rituals, and summoning practices might have opened doors that never closed. Could this be the real reason why the Overlook, or Stanley, is cursed? Why people keep returning, despite or perhaps because of the paranormal activity? The Stanley Hotel remains a top destination for ghost hunters, horror lovers, and thrill seekers. Many return year after year, some even saying they feel drawn to it. They're not afraid, they're intrigued, addicted to the feeling that something is just out of sight, that something beyond this world waits in the dark, ready to make itself known. Are these people brave or just foolish? Would you spend a night alone? Here's the big question. Would you spend the night alone in room 217? No phones, no internet, no distractions, just you and whatever else might be in the room. Could you handle the whispers, the cold spots, the unexplained footsteps echoing through the hall? Let us know in the comments. What's your limit when it comes to the supernatural? Every grand old hotel has a basement, but at the Stanley, it's something else entirely. Staff members often report hearing voices echoing from deep underground, though no one else is present. Tools are mysteriously moved, and shadows dart across walls where no light source exists. Some say the basement holds residual energy from years of pain and isolation, perhaps even the location of secret spiritualist rituals long buried under the hotel's public image. Could this be the source of the hauntings, or is it just another layer in the Overlook's haunted blueprint? The haunted hedge maze that inspired fear. Although the Stanley Hotel didn't originally have a hedge maze, it was added in 2015 due to The Shining's iconic imagery. And even though it's newer, guests claim it carries its own strange energy. Visitors have gotten lost, despite the maze being relatively small, and some report hearing whispers among the leaves. Even creepier, some say the maze mirrors their steps. No matter how fast they walk or what path they choose, they end up right back where they started. Could the maze be feeding off the hotel's energy? Or has something even older taken root there? Possessions and poltergeists. There are also stories of possessions and violent poltergeist activity. One former staff member reportedly fled the hotel after being locked inside the kitchen freezer by an unseen force. Others have felt sudden waves of nausea, unexplained rage, or intense sorrow, emotions that seem to come out of nowhere. These episodes are often strongest in isolated parts of the hotel, corners where light doesn't seem to reach and time feels wrong. Are these just coincidences? Or is the Overlook, or rather, the Stanley, feeding on the emotional energy of its guests? Guests who never check out. The scariest stories? They come from guests who left the Stanley but claim something followed them home. Some report hearing the same whispers weeks later, or seeing figures from their hotel stay appear in mirrors or dreams. One woman even claims she woke up with frost on her bedroom window, despite it being 85 degrees outside. Could spirits attach themselves to guests? Or does the Overlook imprint itself on those who stay, ensuring they never truly leave? Paranormal investigations gone wrong. Over the years, dozens of paranormal investigators have attempted to document the hauntings at the Stanley Hotel. While some captured voices in cold spots, others left shaken and swore never to return. One team even claimed their equipment malfunctioned every time they neared room 401, another of the hotel's haunted rooms. What's fascinating is that many of these teams arrived as skeptics, but left believers. Their accounts, recordings, and experiences add another chilling layer to the legend of the Overlook. The Overlook Hotel may be fictional, but the terror it inspired is deeply real. Whether it's the Stanley Hotel or another haunted location, one thing's for sure: some buildings remember, and some never forget. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the Haunted Overlook Hotel. If this gave you chills, hit that like button. Subscribe for more spine-tingling stories, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a haunting. And before you go, just remember, when checking into an old hotel, it's not the creaking floorboards or flickering lights you need to fear. It's what's already inside.